All right, yep. All right, I'm your boy Main, and I'm back. This is gonna be another exciting episode. This one gonna be real fun because we back on the gridiron. Finally, it's been a good minute. You know what I mean? Life without football is not fun, especially when you're a sports fanatic. But it's cool because you know what I mean. Now it's back. Now we get to talk about it. One thing about sports and football in general, whether you know a person your whole life or you just met them, it's a great conversation starter, and that's one thing for sure. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do today is for y'all, I'm gonna just give my take on the season to come and my outlook, kind of how I think it's gonna go, and all these opinions and everything. Because like I said, everything is fresh, so this is health permitted. Like yo, obviously, like if there's a big injury to a certain team, maybe a quarterback goes down or one of their top receivers or something like that, everything is subject to change. But as of right now, everybody's healthy. But I want to say this too. Yeah, we starting out. Yeah, everything's fresh. Everybody's 0-0. You gotta. That's why you play the game on Sundays. All the cliche things that go on, right? But also, with that being said, we gotta tread lightly, and we can't lead all the time with delusions. Fan is short for fanatic, but I mean, some of that is like, come on. Like as y'all can see, I got my boy Miles right here with me, cause I'm a diehard Bronco fan. Now, I'm not gonna get on here and say that. Oh yeah, we gonna see y'all in February, cause we gonna win the Super Bowl. I mean, of course, that would be great. But as good as Bo Nix was, as great as Bo Nix was in college, we're going with a rookie. So there's going to be growing pains, or so you expect there to be growing pains. Now, if he hit the ground running, more power to him. That's better for us, especially in Sean Payton's system. He is an offensive guru. I mean, having Drew Brees for all those years. I mean, it didn't really work out with Russ, but now this is the quarterback that he picked, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm not one of those fans where I'm gonna just jump out the window and because he had a great preseason, a good preseason, and be like, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. There are certain fan bases that do that delusional type of talk, and we all know who that is. I'll talk about them in a little bit. But yeah, so and I was gonna like kind of just pick my division winners and who I think like for instance we could start out with the NFC. We got the NFC North now on paper because you can't really go too much off the preseason because it's kind of vanilla with everything that they do. Nobody really shows their entire hand during the preseason, especially if you're one of the good teams or you're supposed to be one of the good teams. Like I said, it every just because you was good last year, it doesn't mean that you're going to be good this year. Just because you was bad last year, it doesn't mean that you're going to be bad this year. But if you look at the NFC North and you look at the landscape, they got a lot of hype because, of course, they had the number one pick. The Bears did with Caleb Williams. So, and he got some new weapons. Keenan Allen came over from the Chargers and different things like that. And I was surprised because I thought I thought his time was finished in San Diego. I mean, in LA, excuse me. See, still, all these years, y'all, they need to be back in San Diego. I think that's what it is. Chargers don't need to be in LA. But his time in LA, I thought he was going to call it a career. Now, it'll be good for him to go out on his own terms whenever that time comes. So maybe it'll be a resurgence that he gets with Caleb Williams at quarterback because they're expecting him. We've been talking about this guy for years out of SC, and hopefully he live up to the hype. Because sometimes a player can be touted in college and it not translate, or vice versa. A player might have struggled a little bit in college, and then you hit that pro game, and it's a different feel. His skill set depends on your coaching staff and all that. But when you look at the NFC North, with the Vikings having a rookie quarterback, with the Bears having a rookie quarterback, you narrow it down to two teams. You narrow it down to the Detroit Lions, and you narrow it down to the Green Bay Packers. Now the Green Bay Packers is riding on a high right now because of what they did last year. They did us all a favor by knocking that certain team out the playoffs. But they were a different team the second half of last year than they was the first half. So it's like they're not going to sneak up on nobody this season. Can Christian Watson continue to elevate his game? And more importantly, can Jordan Love, shout out to the hometown kid, take that next step? Because regardless of what team you root for, coming from where we come from, coming from where I come from, since we from the same place, I kind of always keep an eye on him and root for him. You got to root for the hometown. You know what I mean? Unless they play for one of your bitter rivals, then I could understand. But, I'm always keeping a small eye on the Packers. And, you know, shout out to my boy Trav, one of my best friends. He's always been a diehard Packer fan. Salute to my boy Trey. Rest in peace. He was a diehard Packer fan. And so I know he's going to be looking down and hoping they do great things this season. But I'm going to just be honest. I would be surprised if it's basically Detroit's division to lose at this point. Because off the momentum, they got that monkey off the back for, all those years, 30 plus years, not winning a playoff game and the whole 0-16. We went through the movie of the Lions last year. That is no longer. Now we have expectations. And with expectations, we need to see results. Or are you just going to be a one-hit wonder? Those are the type of things that you tend to look at when you look at that division. It's a lot of unknown, and it's a lot of what if, or what could be, what might be. So that's how I look at the NFC North. But I would pick the Lions to head that division, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers overtook them. I think it's going to be a close race. It'll come down to the end, especially those head-to-head matchups since it is divisional. When they play each other, whoever win those matchups between the Lions and the Packers, I think they'll take home the division. And with that being said, before I continue forward, hey, y'all like this video too. If y'all like so far, like it, subscribe, share it, all that. And do me a favor too. Because I want to know. Rep y'all team down in the comment section. Represent y'all team. Whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs and they the Super Bowl champions, or they the San Francisco 49ers who was the runner-up for seems like the last decade. They've been just right there. Even you delusional Cowboy fans, rep your squad. Raider fans, y'all always repping, no matter what the record is. Rep your squad. Don't be afraid to rep your squad on this YouTube. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, and rep your squad. And that's how it's going to transition. Okay, so next we got the NFC East will be next. We're just going to go around the map. The NFC East will be next. That's the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Commanders, and the Giants. It's kind of like the North. I look at that kind of like the North. It's like it seems like a two-team race. And I know I bashed on the Cowboys a lot, and I talk junk about the Cowboys a whole bunch. But to be honest, the way I'm looking at it, the way the Eagles looked going down the back half of last season with the retirement of Jason Kelsey, which that's very important. Never let anyone tell you anything different. If you don't have a good O-line or a good D-line, I don't care what quarterback you have. I don't care what receivers you have. I don't care what running backs you have. If that meat and potatoes up front on both sides of the ball is not right, then it's not going to be right. Football is the ultimate team sport. If one person don't do their job, it'll mess up the whole thing. So I'm kind of curious to see what it's going to be like, especially with the Philly, what they call it, tush push, so many different names. The quarterback sneak, basically. what is it gonna be like without a Hall of Famer in front of Jalen Hurts? Is Nick Sirianni gonna have to change his system up? See, it's a lot of what ifs. See, Dallas don't got those questions because thankfully Jerry Jones paid CD Lamb his money. And with that being said, regardless of what team it is, pay the players, especially in a game like football, because one hit and your career, your livelihood can be changed forever. So while you playing this game, because I'm gonna tell you, a lot of the players are vastly underpaid for a lot of those franchises, especially a franchise like the Cowboys. Merchandise sales and everything, their fandom is global. It's certain teams, the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Lakers, the Steelers, like certain teams is like no matter where you go, you're gonna see those jerseys. So it's good that he got his money. And I expect the Cowboys to be good in the regular season. They're gonna have one of those 14-3 type year. They're gonna have one of those like major seasons, and it's gonna get everybody hopes up. Just like it's been since 1997, 1996, since they won their last Super Bowl. It's our year. We're gonna hear the conversations. We're gonna get a little bit annoyed by the social media posts, but they're gonna come. But just be patient because they're gonna be good during the regular season. But when it's that one and done time, that's when nerves kick in, brows get kind of sweaty. And can y'all win that one game? Last year, like I said, the Packers snuck up on them. Who gonna sneak up on the Cowboys this year? But I expect them to win that division over the Eagles. I really do, because the Eagles got a lot. They got to answer a lot of questions from the end of last year, and I'm not just gonna give it to them just because that's what we expect them to be. I look at the talent that the Cowboys have, and they're like I said, they're gonna put it together in the regular season. It's just can they get over that hump, and can Jerry be quiet just long enough for them to make a deep playoff run? I don't think so. So I'm not gonna give it. I'm not gonna give it to them past the regular season, but I will give them the NFC East. Then the South, the NFC South, that's anybody's ball game. It seems like it's been like that for the last few years. The NFC South has been a toss up. You got Baker with the Bucks. You got DC, Derek Carr, another hometown youngster. Well, he's not really young no more, but he still rep the hometown, I guess, kid. You know what I mean? And doing this thing with the Saints. It's still kind of the Saints. You could tell that they're still like that shadow of Drew Brees. It's still kind of looming. Like Saints was one of those teams. Like since I was growing up in my era through high school, junior high school, all that, it was like you kind of penciled them in for 10 plus, 11 plus every year because of Drew, because of Sean Payton. Now that whole regime is different. So it's kind of they got the new guard in there, but they still got some of the previous um franchise players and things like that. So then you got the Falcons. They don't know if they coming or going. They still reeling from 28-3 back in the day. They don't really know what's going on. They done signed Kirk Cousins, but we know Kirk Cousins do good enough to get his money. But is he really gonna carry a team? I don't think so. It's gonna be a lot of that, we want Pence talk very early. By week 4, you can book it. By week 4, you can book it. That and him coming off that major injury that he coming off, we don't know what Kirk Cousins gonna be. It's different when you taking them live game reps, you taking them hits and it counts. You know what I mean? When everything counts and then, one or two interceptions, one or two mistakes, when you got somebody breathing down your neck, when you got your backup quarterback that people like gravitated to even in the draft, they're like, man, how could this certain player still be on the board? Like, it was like he was becoming like a darling of the draft. So we're just waiting and seeing. It's not basically because when you draft a player at that position, it's not if, it's just when. And then you got year 2 of Bryce Young. It's like, what are you gonna do with the Like, what are the Panthers gonna do? Are they gonna show improvement? See, I'm one of those people. Like I said early on in the episode, I said some of us, some of our teams, including my own, I will tell you, including my own, we have to temper expectations. Because if you just come out and be like, "Oh, it's all 0-0 and we're all," it is, but it ain't. It is, but it ain't. So we just got to be honest. Like, the Chiefs was there last year. Unless a catastrophic injury happened to Pat, they'll be there again. The 49ers, they'll be there again. Like I said, unless a catastrophic injury happened, most of the teams that were there, because football, it's not a lot of overturn. That's one thing about it. You might get, like, for instance, like I said, the South is a toss up, right? So the Bucks won the division last year. They might not. They have the potential to win it again, but then they have the potential to bottom out as well. You know, nothing is set in stone with that division. The Panthers got the ability to either fall by the wayside or surprise the league. It all depends on Bryce Young. It all depends on the offensive line. These are the things that you got to think about when dealing with some of these divisions. You know, like I said, fan is short for fanatic, so we all can, including myself, we can get very delusional at times. I've done it. We've been 3-0, 4-0 a couple times, and guess what? We finished the season with 4 wins. Won the first 3, then the whole bottom fell out. So if you one of those bottom dwelling teams, 2 game improvement, 3 game improvement, 4 game improvement. And like I said, like the video, rep your squad. Don't be ashamed to rep your squad. Of course, if your squad is good, of course you're gonna say something. But even if your squad not that good, let's be honest. I love honest fandom. People that I can talk about. Like, there's only like maybe 2 or 3 Cowboys fans that I can stomach having a conversation with, because I know that they're not gonna come with a blue and metallic, you know what I mean, mindset. They're not gonna come with a cowboy glossy point of view. They're gonna be honest about their own team, and that's how I am about my team. Win, lose or draw, I still love my guys. I'm riding with them. Been riding with them since I came into this world. Win, lose or draw, that's gonna be my squad. If we gotta fall on the sword, we gotta fall on the sword. But with that, like I said, the South is a toss up, but I'm gonna just go on and say I'm gonna pick the Saints. I'm gonna pick the Saints for that one. I think they're gonna end up taking it. I think DC gonna have a bounce back year, and the Saints is gonna surprise some people. The Bucks are not gonna be too far behind, but I expect the Saints to take the South. Now this next one is interesting because it gives me something. I seen something yesterday on social media that it kind of, because sometimes these people that's on TV, they can just say stuff and their opinions. Sometimes they're right, but a lot of times they're wrong. And it was a post. Shout out to my little bro Byron. He reposted it. He's a diehard Rams fan. Shout out to my boy Mike. Shout out to my boy Show, Breezy, all the Rams fans. They're not gonna have a better offense than the 49ers. They might have the second best offense in the NFC West, but they're not gonna have a better offense than the 49ers. That's what Kyle Shanahan does. His offensive scheme is very simple, but very effective. And he ain't finna deviate from that. It's like I was saying about the Cowboys a little bit ago. We know the 49ers are going to be there in the end. They're going to be one of the last 4 teams, I believe. But can they finally get over the hump? That's the question. They're not gonna they're not gonna come back to the pack. That's what's gonna have to happen. So all this, oh, people love playing for the Rams. They love playing in LA. Yeah, they love living in LA. Of course. Who wouldn't? Who doesn't? You know what I mean? Unless you play for those other two teams in LA. But playing for the Lakers and playing for the Rams, of course. Why wouldn't you want to? The love and the admiration that comes with that. And I'm not saying that Sean Payton is not a, I mean, excuse me. I'm not saying that Sean McVay is not a great offensive mind because he is. But so is Kyle Shanahan. They lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's nothing to sneeze at. So what have they done or what have they lost? Because they just paid Brandon Ayuk. They finally put, like I said, give the players their money. It shouldn't have took that long to get that man his money. Now, I know it's probably a lot of people out there that's gonna say like maybe he was overpaid, but you gotta overpay in this game for talent. Talent costs. You know what I mean? Oh, he should take less and he should be more team friendly. When they're ready to trade him, they're gonna get him out of there. You gotta think about your bank account too. You can't just think about that team. Cause if I take a team discount, does that guarantee? There's that word. Does that guarantee me a ring? You can't guarantee anything in this life, especially when it comes to sports. So the little holdout he was doing, I know it had some fans pissed off, ticked off, but can you blame him? I always tell people like this: if we having that conversation, what would you do? If you was him, what would you do? Not if you were the fan, if you were the player. What would you do? You would want your money. You know what I'm saying? You would want your money. Oh no, they should do this because we spend all that. But yeah, that money that you spending rocking jersey sales and all that, and going through the turnstiles, going watching them games and all that. He wants some of that. He needs some of that money, and he did the right thing. CD did the right thing. I will never look down on a player for getting their money. Some players they willing to take a pay cut. Like I know it's a different sport, but like Brian took a pay cut, right? He said, "I'm gonna take a pay cut so y'all can try to improve the roster." Once he realized what nobody trying to take the money, what can you do? All you can do is offer it to people, and if they don't take it, they don't take it. Well, if they ain't gonna take it, it's still sitting there. I might as well get it because I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna still do what I do. He's still gonna do what he do. Brandon Ayuk is still one of them ones. It's hard to find receiver talent in the NFL. It's not like it used to be, where it was like take your pick. Certain teams got those players, and they all should get their money. But to say that the Rams offensively is gonna be on the 49er level, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. They need to be worried about Seattle. That's what they need to worry about. Because we all thought that Seattle was gonna just implode when they lost Russell. When they lost Russ, we thought it was over. The Legion of Boom, everything we thought Marshawn's gone. Everybody we thought. And would you look at that? Ever since he's been gone, they didn't elevate it. While he regressed. Very much so. So they got to worry about that. They need to be focused on Kyler and the Cardinals as well as the Seahawks. They don't need to be worried about the 49ers. It's levels to this. Like I said, they mortgaged a lot of their stuff to get that one Super Bowl. Enjoy it because it's not guaranteed. Trust me, I know. My team ain't been relevant since Super Bowl 50. I can keep saying, oh, but we got it. Yeah, that was back in 2016. That was in February of 2016. We in 2024 finna be 2025 when we crown our next champion. That was the 15 season. And look where we at. You know what I'm saying? So y'all did that. Enjoy it. See, I tell people all the time, I think being a fan, the best time, the journey is in the chase. Because when you get to the top of the mountain, unless you're the Chiefs, unless you're the old school Patriots, like when you was guaranteed to, oh, we'll be like, not saying take it for granted, but when it was like, I'm sure we'll at least have a crack at it. Some of the teams we don't know if you'll ever get back. Like I was saying a little bit ago, took Detroit 30 years. Now, can they sustain it or is it going to regress back to the means? We don't know. But with all that being said, I said all that to say this. The 49ers is winning the NFC West. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're going to be one of the last four teams standing when all this thing is said and done. Like I said, if my team surprise people and do, I'm gonna be cheering right along. But I'm not gonna sit up here and be delusional when it comes to the game of football. Not it's too rough, it's too tough, and it's steps, it's level. Like I said, it's levels to this. So yeah, man. So next, what I mean. That's just my take on the NFC. So next, this. Like I said, this is I'm a Denver Bronco fan, so I'm like an AFC guy. Like I pay attention to all football. Shout out to my mom because we got a football pool going on, and it's been cool because we've been at it for a few years now, and it force you to like it's times you got to make a choice. Are you a fan or do you want to win? So sometimes you got to root against your own team to get that win. But some of y'all so stubborn, we already know y'all not gonna root against your team, so we can always sometimes we can scratch that off like, oh yeah, that's an L, like. But yeah, with that being said, though, I'm gonna talk about this AFC. Like I said, I'm gonna just go around like I did with the NFC, North, Northeast, Southwest, and it's interesting with the AFC North because, of course, you got the Ravens, you got Lamar, you got the Browns, you got the Bengals, and then you got the Steelers. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be paying attention to this defense. I mean, this division. Excuse me. It is a defensive division, so y'all can understand. But to this division, a little bit closer because of the rust factor. And I'm gonna just be honest, because as you know, for the last 2 years, he was on my Denver Broncos, and all I'm gonna say to that is Seattle was right. They saw through the tea leaves, and they didn't re-up his contract for a reason. Why we did that and gave him extra money before he had 2 years on his deal. You make him play at least one of those years out to see what you get. We paid him for his name, not for his game. And I honestly think because for years we always thought like, man, we just a quarterback away. We had the receivers, we had the talent, the defensive talent. We had it. Our defense was solid, but it was just like we couldn't score. And I feel like that's the same thing with the Steelers. The Steelers have always, through my lifetime, they've always been great defensively. And they've always just seemed to be, you know, of course, when Ben Roethlisberger was running it, he had it going. But then in the latter years of Big Ben, it was like, if Big Ben could just make one or two plays, the defense could carry us through. And I feel like that's kind of what they're going through now that Ben has retired, been retired for a few years, and they're trying to find that guy. They went through Kenny Pickett. They, they're going through, and I don't know, and I'm not gonna sit on there and be like, oh, Russ not it and all that. I'm not doing that. We don't know. But if I judge it off of what I saw up close and personal last year, I'm gonna say nah, because it's rare that sometimes you can have a resurgence, but sometimes it's rare that you get better with age. You know what I mean? And a lot of it too. I don't know people. A lot of people gonna tell me, well, man, they probably gonna have a better offensive line than y'all. But I'm gonna tell you this. Sometimes what make offensive line looks less than or bad is a quarterback that hold on to the ball and try to be hero. Now, if he do what kind of Sean Payton been doing with Bo Nix, getting the ball out quick, getting the ball into your backs and receivers' hands, letting them get them yak yards, then okay. But if he goes in with the mindset of I need to prove that I'm still him to all of them, then it's not gonna work. It's the same thing with Lamar. And I did that to transition. It's the same thing with Lamar. If he would have did what got him to the dance, it would have been the Ravens versus the 49ers in last year's Super Bowl, like I said. But I feel, me personally, that he let the media get to him because he stopped doing what got him to the dance when he went up against Patrick Mahomes. And he tried to prove that it could be a drop back, pocket, quarterback, and I don't have to use my legs all the time. Yeah, you do. That's what use them. Not many people got them. Not the way you do. So if you got them, while you got them, use them. Now, hopefully, with the addition of Derrick Henry, it'll take some pressure. He won't have to use his leg as much. But I'm gonna tell you that I think, like again, in my opinion, me personally, I feel like, and this goes across the spectrum of all the NFL, the days of the bell cow back are over. If you don't have a second in command that can, because you can ride Derrick Henry, you can ride Lamar Jackson, you can know they should not be. Well, I'm gonna say it like this: Derrick Henry should be your leading rusher on that team. Then it should be whoever your backup is, and then Lamar, because you know the league is starting to figure him out. Because you do kind of want him to get Zay Flowers more involved. Use that receiving core that they done got you. Because they got, I know they lost OBJ, and I think OBJ is gonna do well in his new situation. But I don't think it's a big loss that everybody is trying to make it out to be. And I'm an LSU guy, so I love OBJ. Like, you know what I mean? That was one of my favorite. That's always been one of my favorite players from college, even till now. But I'm just being honest. I think that highly of Zay Flowers that I think that the tight ends, all the weapons that they have with the addition of Derrick Henry, because you do have to kind of pay attention. You have to pay attention to that. So there's gonna be times where that box is gonna be loaded, and that's where you use the quick slants and get the ball in their hands and let the receivers do their work. See, now the era has changed. You don't have to be a super drop back quarterback and hold the ball for 2, 3 seconds. Get the ball into your playmakers' hands and let them make plays. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, if the team wins, who getting all the credit? The quarterback. But if the team losing, who getting the blame? It's the coach and then it's the quarterback. That's just how the game goes. So again, Lamar, do what got you to the dance because it works. It got you multi MVP. Got you on the cover of Madden. It got, you know what I'm saying? Now it's Super Bowl. We need you to get that Super Bowl. Regardless if they saying, "Oh, you're not marketable." You may never be in their eyes. But guess who wasn't? Guess who else wasn't marketable in their eyes but still became the culture GOAT? And that's Allen Iverson. Different sport, but same thing. Forget that they don't want you. The media don't want you. They deem you not to be marketable. Your skills are marketable enough. So do what got you to the dance and you'll be fine. I felt he was good last year. All good last year. Until he got to that AFC Championship game and then he tried to be Pat and it just didn't work. But with all that being said, the cream of the crop of that division, in my opinion, is going to be my boy Joe Shiesty because he's back. He's back. Then all this is injury. Obviously, this is injury permitted. But I'm giving the North to them. hands down. And yeah, oh, you didn't speak about the Browns. To be honest with you, I look at the Browns as a one-trick pony. I look at them just as a defensive team, and I don't know how far that'll take you as far as the league because this is an offensive game. This is a more fast pace now. So is the Browns gonna be able to keep up? I don't know. I don't know for a full season. They haven't been healthy. Their top players on the offensive side haven't been healthy for a few full season in a minute. So that's a wait and see. But I'm giving the North to the Bengals because they're more mature now. And when they did make the Super Bowl, they were still young. They were still very young and they made it. And because of an injury to Joe Burrow is the reason why they fell back to the pack last year. But I don't think this is happening because just how they keep propping up Josh Allen, that's Joe Burrow's spot. If you got Pat number one, as you should, just being honest, you got to have Joe Shiesty number two, even over Lamar Jackson. Give me Joe Burrow. If I have to choose, give me Joe Burrow. If I have to choose against somebody to go one-on-one against Patrick Mahomes, even though they don't technically play against each other, give me Joe Burrow. Give me a healthy Joe Burrow. So I'm expecting the Bengals to rise to the top, be the cream of the crop of the North, and take that. With that being said, this next division, surprisingly, if healthy, again, if this is all health related, I'm going to give that to the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to surprise some people, even coming off the injury, man. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to surprise some folk. You know, of course, like I said, you got Tua, you got Reek, you got Waddle, you got OBJ down in Miami. But it seems like a fun time. But again, it's one of those situations where they snuck up on everybody last year a little bit, just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just a little bit, in my opinion. I don't see that happening because we was primed and ready for the Jets to just do. You know what I mean? Packers Aaron was gonna become New York's Aaron. Like that's what we was gonna see, and then a fluke injury happened, like the fourth play of the game maybe of last season, and then he was out the whole season. So that opened the door for what we've seen from the Dolphins. The Bills lost too much, in my opinion. Um, Last season, I had this back and forth with my brother a little bit about it. Like you know what I'm saying? I didn't see like what he was doing in the first half of the season. To me, that's who Josh Allen is, and he turned it on. And the Bills, you know what I mean? They improved, but I think they lost too much with the subtraction of Stephon Diggs. I think that's gonna come back to bite them. It's going to be a lot of that mechanically. I think he's to the point, Josh Allen, he's going to do what works. So he's not going to change. He's not going to change too much. He's not going to deviate from that. And he's just always going to be that player that throws interceptions in the crucial moments. And it just is what it is. And I think I would give Aaron he has the poise to get it done. Tua is still up in the air because I'm still kind of on the fence because with the concussions he suffered over the past couple years, and it's just one hit. I mean, and that's how football is. One hit and it can be over. You know what I mean? So, and it's different from being a hunter versus the hunted. It's a lot of that going on, and I know the Jets been starving to be good for some years now. I mean, I think it's been since the Mark Sanchez era back in like '09 when they made the two back-to-back AFC champion ship games. And I think they're going to bounce back. I think this is going to be a resurgent year for them. Aaron is going to come in and he's going to be that stable thing force at quarterback, that they need to get over the hump because they have the talent, they have the receivers, they have their defense. Sauce Gardner, they got players over there. They're that team that I feel is just a quarterback away. So I'm gonna give with the this is the first year that we don't have Belichick with the Patriots. We don't have Brady. We don't have Belichick. I think Mayo is gonna do good, but I think it's gonna take him about 3 years. I think Mayo is gonna do good. I think it's gonna take him about 3 years. So I think that it's gonna come down to really the Jets and the Dolphins because I believe the Bills are finished. I mean, as exciting as Bills Mafia is, I believe they're finished. And the Patriots is just now we gonna see. Is the Patriot way a real thing? Was it Brady? Was it Belichick? I mean, right now we can lean towards Brady because like he went down to Tampa and he got him one before he got up out of here, you know. And Bill, Bill is he's out of the league right now. I don't know if he's gonna retire. I don't know what's gonna go on with that, but I feel like Mayo is gonna do good, but it's gonna take him about 3 to 4 years, maybe 5 years. I'm hoping that the Patriots will be as patient with him as they have been in the past and actually build something because one thing about sports, it can't be microwavable because you'll get in a bad situation if you think about it. So I think with that division, like I said, I think the Jets have pushed all their chips into the middle of the table. And I think, again, if Aaron can be healthy even in his older age, I still think he has the talent, the arm talent, the smarts to get it done. So I'm going to give the AFC East to the Jets. And then next, I'm going to move on to of course, the South. And that's the Jaguars, the Texans, the Titans, and the Colts. And again, that's CJ Stroud's division to lose. The Texans, with the addition of Stephon Diggs, you know, they'll eventually coming back to how he was healthy and just killing the league, and CJ Stroud just taking that next step. But again, with expectations, we got to see results because the Jags still got Trevor Lawrence. We seen one year like, okay, we seen the hype of Trevor Lawrence. Then last year, kind of, And I know my sister, she gonna hate me saying because she's a Jags fan. Still don't know why. I know why, but I don't know why. Like but I don't know. With the Jags, it's always been like they got good uniforms. Like you know what I mean. So they, like I said, that to me, that's the Texans. Will Levis, I like Will Levis. I like his personality. I mean, him just seeing his personality in college at the draft, all that, he was like, he's easy to root for. He seems very likable, easy to root for, right? But I don't think the Titans, they don't got enough. They just don't got enough. You know, I don't think the Tennessee Titans got enough. Uh, the Colts, they're gonna fight hard. They always gonna be in the mix. But like I said, I think it's the Texans. The Texans just got it. I think CJ Stroud is the future. He's the next up. He's that one. He's gonna be that one. He's gonna be that one. He's that next. I look at him, and this is gonna be kind of a big statement, but I look at him like a mixture between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. He's a mixture between the two. And again, how do y'all see it? How do y'all drop it in the comments? Let me know. Again, rep your squad. I've been doing this episode for a minute. Rep your squad. Don't be scared to rep your squad. But like I said, for the South, I'm gonna go and just get that to the Texans. If they don't win that division, I'll be very surprised. If they don't, I mean, they should win that division handily. I mean, 12, 13 plus wins. I'm giving it to them. I'm giving them the South. Again, health permitted, injury, you know what I mean, all that. But with that being said, now here we go. The AFC West in my division. So it's a little bit more personal. It's a little bit more personal. We got my Broncos. Shout out to my boy Miles. the Kansas City Chiefs, which we all have a disdain for because they're so good, because we can't beat them. Let's just be honest about it. That's why we don't like them. Well, I'm not going to say we can't beat them because we did beat them last year. The Raiders did beat them last year. It's only one team in the division that really struggled with them. And that's that team, that other team in LA. And see, the thing I like about football season is like, because me and my big brothers, right? We die hard Laker fans. So during basketball season, we always on the same side. The misery, the celebration, all that. We embrace it together. But this season is special because the NFL season is special because one's a Raider fan, one's a Charger fan. I'm a Bronco fan. My mom is a Raider fan. Like, you know what I mean? So it's very it's very bonding and it's very contentious because we over the years we've been to games together and things like that, and it makes it fun for me because it's like y'all downfall, y'all misery is my life's joy during football season. You know, after February we're good. And for in our case, after November, we usually like we be done melded in and like focusing on basketball. But it's like it's crazy because I believe in Aiden O'Connell with the Raiders, and I'm not just saying that because it's my rival. I like him as a player. I feel like, and of course they got Tay, they got Devontae, the Antonio Pierce. It's one of those things like, is the honeymoon over? Is that like energy kind of it dissipated a little bit, or is it still gonna be there? Because again, now we expect like, okay, we seen like what it could be, what they could kind of do, how he galvanized the troops and all that. But what you got? Like, you know what I mean? Now that we know who you are, we know the talent, like, how are you going to put it together for a full season? Let's see it. Are you going to be able to? Because I'm going to be honest. In that division, we all playing for second place. Until one of us can knock off the Chiefs, it's their division to lose. It just is what it is. And it's crazy because the team that played them the best in our division is the Raiders. The Raiders always at least split with the Chiefs, or they play the Chiefs tooth and nail, and you wouldn't expect it, but they do. That's a game that they get up for. But again, our division also has a lot of question marks that the Chiefs don't got because they got the two stabilizing forces that matter the most: Andy Reid, head coach Andy Reid, and of course Pat Mahomes. The rest of us, you got Antonio Pierce, but you got Aiden O'Connell. We don't really know about Pierce as a coach just as of yet, but they do got a good supporting cast. The loss of Josh Jacobs, him going to the Packers, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. I don't know what it is in the league now where they feel like running backs is a dime a dozen. I don't feel that way. When you have a good one, you don't let him out the door. No amount of money, pay him his money. And I feel like they kind of failed to do that. So now that position, everything is up in the air with that. And then you take it to the Chargers. They have Justin Herbert, great arm talent, great supposed to be. He has all the tools, all this other stuff, but he hasn't been able to put it together. Mainly because of injury, mainly because of the injury to the offensive line. Remember what I said earlier in the episode, that's the meat and potatoes when it comes to this football thing. If you don't got a good D line or a good O line, you ain't really got nothing. I don't care what receivers and running backs, and quarterbacks, and Tom Brady needed a great line. Peyton Manning needed a great line. Aaron Rodgers for years with the Packers needed a great line to be great. You need to have your up front right. Because to be honest, thinking of it, you think in a fantasy football, because like I said, we're fans. So we think of it like you see Justin Herbert. They the Spanos finally spend the money, which they're notoriously cheap. They don't spend money for nothing. Hence why I feel like they're in LA when they should be back in San Diego. We all feel that way. Fans and rivals alike. They belong in San Diego. They could have updated Qualcomm, or they could have built a new stadium down there. I feel like it could have got done. Like, you know what I mean? But with that being said, they finally got Harbaugh in there. So when he made that first pick and it was offensive lineman, I'm like, at the fan in me, even the right, I'm like, yo, he could have got one of the top receivers right there for him to take. Then I'm like, nah, sit back over the summer, and I'm like, nah, you got to think. Because he wore that flap jacket for most of the season last year, taking that hit. Like, you got to protect your investment, and Justin Herbert is the future of the Chargers. Whether they win, lose, or draw, it's going to be on his back. It's going to be him, and it's going to be Harbaugh's connection. Thankfully, Harbaugh is a former quarterbacks coach. We've seen what he was able to do with Alex Smith. We've seen what he was able to do with Colin Kaepernick back in the day. You know, no, he didn't get over the hump to win the big game, but he was there. He was always, the battles with Seattle back in the day, when he was the head coach of the 49ers. Now he the head coach of the Chargers, so now we're going to see. Can he bring that energy? Can he bring that toughness to the Chargers? Because the West, one thing about the West, regardless of what the record is, we always go at it. It's always a touchdown. It's always a field goal. It's never really a runaway, you know? And then, too, like I said, it's a lot of unknown with those other three teams. The Chiefs is the only one that seemed like they solidified. Then there's my Broncos. Like I said, we got Bo Nix. I was happy with the pick. I liked Bo Nix in college. Again, shout out to my boy Trav, University of Oregon, Ducks fan, a real fan. Like, you know what I mean? And so we kind of had this little exchange. Like, I know he gonna be keeping an eye on Bo Nix, and he want Bo Nix to be good. Just like I said about Jordan Love, with him being from the hometown, Packers they're not on my radar as far as like threatening to my team. Now, if we just so happen, if we both end up in the Super Bowl, that would be a dream rematch, from back in the day when we won our first Super Bowl. It was against the Packers. So that would be dope. But I don't see that happening. I see them being good. I don't see us, unless we surprising people. A 3-4 game improvement, I'll be happy with that from last year, you know. But this is gonna tell a lot because Sean Payton has his guy. Bo Nix is your guy. Now the excuses are done. You picked your guy. Russ is no longer the issue. Russ is no longer the problem. That can no longer be our excuse. Now, how this plays out, Sean Payton, is gonna be on you. So as fans of the Denver Broncos, we're gonna be looking at you. Me personally, if you listen back to my old audio episodes, I defended Sean Payton in the Russell Wilson situation. The way the media was trying to portray him as like he didn't like Russ for a certain reason, I don't see that, because I never heard none of his former players say that. Dude is a media darling because he's a celebrity, but on that football field, if you call it like you see it, you'd be honest about it. It wasn't great. And then they were trying to compare his stats, his good stats, to Patrick Mahomes last year, which was one of his down years. So what was we really doing? So we really gotta see. We really gotta see. We got some solid players. I like the collection of players we got. No, they're not household names. No, they're not the names that pop out on the page. But I feel like they're gonna be able to get the job done with the right type of coaching, with the right timing. And a little message to Bo Nix: it's okay, bro, to throw the ball away and play for the next down. You don't always got to take the sack. We don't need you to be the hero. We need you to move them chains. But yeah, with all that being said, like I said, I'm hopeful for my team. I love my team. I root for my team. Like, comment, subscribe on this video, and drop your team down in the comments. I want to see while you watching this video, I want to see who rep for who and why, and see how you feel about this video. Opinions matter. Whether I agree with them or not, whether y'all agree with me or not, I'm going to take them all in stride. And with all that being said, like I said, I got the Chiefs winning the West. It's their division to lose, of course. Anything else would be crazy for me to say. But with that being said, I want y'all to always remember, just because their vision is blurry, that doesn't diminish your greatness. Until next time, stay lion-hearted.